Hey, how we doing, everybody? Good to talk to you on a Monday. You are tuned in to a DraftKings show we call The Slate. It's our afternoon, evening edition of what's going on in the world of sports, daily fantasy, sports betting. Plenty to get to, even though it feels like now we are entering one of the slowest parts of the sports calendar. Brendan Glasheen and Jeff Ulrich is here. Jeff is a jack of all trades. We weren't here last Monday because last Monday was a holiday. So that's why we weren't here last Monday. But here we are on a Monday. Jeff, why don't we start with some hockey? Let's start as a little quick react to the Stanley Cup Final coming to a close. Colorado Avalanche, a wagon all season long. They take home the championship. Stan Kroenke has another title in his arsenal. But I know you talked about this a bit on the Sweat this morning. This is what you expected, right? I mean, Colorado came out and they were the better team, and Tampa had no juice to really answer.
I mean, they had juice. It just the juice ran out, right? Like, the juice wasn't quite enough. They made a really good series of it, more than I thought they would. After those first two games, I legitimately thought we could see a sweep, but they really bounced back. I mean, like, they could have easily had a 2-2 there, right? I mean, obviously the too many men on the ice thing. I mean, Colorado still could have won that game, but they made a series of it, and it was really tight there at times in those last like 3 or 4 games. So, but at the same time, I did say before the series, I expected Colorado to win in 6 or less games. I wouldn't have been shocked if it was like a 5-game series. Didn't get the 5-gamer. We hit the 6 games, which was kind of my favorite bet anyways. I think you're getting it at plus 110 pre-series. Colorado's just, they were more well-rested. They're just the better team. The one place where everyone was all up in arms was in net. Kemper, he's not as good as Vasilevsky, but you know what he did really good in these playoffs? He bounced back really good. And he's kind of did that all season for the Avalanche. And he gave them the saves when they needed it. They didn't need elite goaltending. That's how good a team they are. They got elite defense, really deep defense too. Not people enough talking about that. Bo and Byram and they're like second pairing. And they got the guys up front, the horses up front. So Colorado's an elite team. I'm not shocked that this is how the series went. It's pretty much exactly how I thought the series would go.
So when we do this show, we try to get involved on things, of course, related to the sports world, but also what you can get some action on. The DraftKings Sportsbook, the contests, which we will dive into.
Sportsbook company? I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Do we take bets?
Jeff, sometimes you have to entertain a new audience, okay? You never know who's watching. Right? Remember the times we did those Madden sims and people would watch for the first time? They don't even call the games. Like, because people don't get it. That's what the host has to do. You have to remind people. God, stop being so annoying. Let's look at the championship odds for next year because we're so impatient. We're going to miss hockey. The Avs are the favorites to win it next year.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, I think. Then you see Toronto, then Tampa. Where's the current value? Do you want to bet the Oilers at plus 1,800?
Yeah. So look, Colorado around this time last year was the favorite. I think they were around plus 650. Maybe even you could have gotten them at plus 700. They were the most publicly bet team. I expect Colorado, even at like plus 400, plus 450, they'll probably see their odds go up a little bit because this is just a reaction. They just won the Stanley Cup. They got the best defenseman. They got a great center in Nathan McKinnon. But I still expect people to go back to the Avalanche. This is, they've got a 23-year-old defenseman, Cale Makar, who just won the Conn Smythe. That's all people are going to be talking about all offseason. So the Avalanche's odds are going to get a little bit bigger. They've got some cap issues. They're not going to be able to bring back. I don't think they're going to be able to bring back Nichushkin. Darcy Kemper doesn't have a long-term contract. These odds will probably get a little bit bigger, but they're not going to get that much bigger because this is Colorado. They just paid off. They're the most publicly bet team last year. And they just paid off for everyone. People will go back to the Avalanche. The value. I just cannot bet the Toronto Maple Leafs at plus 800. I think they've got a really good team. They do need a little bit more stability in the back end. They don't have the horses that Colorado does have in that regard. And realistically, they need to find some stability in that because, my God, their goaltenders were terrible in the second half of the year for them. So, but those are things they can figure out, especially the goaltending, right? So they're a good team, plus 800. I don't want a piece. The East is really competitive. And I think that when you look for the East, especially, it's competitive, but it's also wide open. Pittsburgh and the Rangers at plus 2,000. I think those teams are very, very interesting. Those two teams played to a 7-game series. I think Pittsburgh at times last year looked like one of the best teams in the East. They were really good 5-on-5. You look at their 5-on-5 metrics, like just from the regular season, they were one of the best teams. Tristan Jarry, for whatever reason, like went from like a Vezina candidate to kind of just like, like not trash, but like not like mediocre towards the end of the year. And maybe that's just like too much play. I don't know, but I think Pittsburgh is definitely a team that I would look at. I think that veteran core has one more run in them with Crosby. He's not that old. Letang, and they've got a few younger guys in there now, like Evan Rodriguez and stuff too. So I look at Pittsburgh as a potential value. And look, the Rangers, another young team. They have almost the Rangers are very close. They're not quite there, but like, when you can push a team like Tampa Bay, let's not forget how close the Rangers were to going up 3-0 on the Lightning. Like that team is close. The Rangers, they need a little bit more. They weren't great 5-on-5 in the regular season, but if they can add a piece or something, they're close too. So those are two teams from the East. The West is tough, man. Like you've got to be betting on an Avalanche regression. And I think it's possible because of some of the moves they make. And I do think that the bets have to be like, I think you have to look at the Oilers. But one thing we saw from the Avalanche, you need the top end talent, right? Like you need the guns up front. And the Oilers have that. And they actually have some studs on the back end too, and a guy in Evan Bouchard. So they just need a goalie and maybe like a little bit more depth. They could get there. I think the Oilers probably are the value, but I'd rather look out East. I think those are probably the better bets.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you said that, though, only because the East was so hard to figure out this year, right? I mean, that was
it is, but like with that comes opportunity. Like there's no juggernaut in the East. Like there's very good teams. Like Florida could be better. They've got a year of experience, but we saw Florida. They were so good in the regular season, and then they kind of just got dusted in the playoffs. Like I think that opens for opportunity. Like we saw the Rangers make a run. I think Pittsburgh could bounce back. So I think there's just a little bit more opportunity there. It's tougher, but it's also more wide open. Whereas like in the West, if you're betting someone, you have to eventually think that team's going to be better than Colorado. And I think the Oilers do have the guns up front to potentially have a team that's better, but like, you're also betting on Colorado regression. So I'd probably rather target the East. That's right now. Look, things are going to change. I mean, we're talking, it's July. The season just ended like a day ago. So
this is true. It's all true. But hey, the people are hungry, and
absolutely. I love talking about it. I mean, I'll talk about
using your words. We have
some here. What about some LA Kings action? I don't know. Plus 4,500, good young team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's more down the road. We'll talk about some of these crazy teams that could bounce back. Kings are actually kind of interesting, but yeah.
Well, and the other thing too is the harsh reality. If you're a big hockey fan out there tuning in, we're probably not talking about this sport again till like October. So this is why we do this now. We give you the hockey.
Got some preseason stuff in. There'll be the draft. The NHL draft is good, but you're right. We got a month of like no hockey talk, unfortunately.
So Xander Schauffele won the Travelers Championship in Cromwell, Connecticut. I was very fascinated. This is what I'm fascinated about coming out of the weekend. Did you write an article this week over on DK Nation?
This week for the John Deere, you mean?
For John Deere.
Yeah, it might not be up yet, but
yes. It's not up yet. Well, okay, damn, because I was hoping you'd say no, only because finally, when I opened the golf tab on the DK Nation playbook section, where you can find a lot of great information on how to bet, how to find games. I mean, we touch all of the angles when it comes to sports, baby, over at DraftKings. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see Reed Fowler's name at the top of the list. Finally back to work, writing content, making himself available. I mean, it's about time. I figured maybe Reed wrote the article this week to give Jeff a breather. That's what I was thinking. But Reed Fowler's got a DraftKings John Deere Classic Predictions article up right now. It's okay. Your article's not out yet. That's rare. Normally we do this show. The article's out, ready to go. You got the course preview, some trends. You do a great job picking it apart.
I got it in like maybe an hour later than usual, so it'll probably be out fairly soon. But it'll be up there on the DK Nation playbook. Give Reed's article a shout out. He's coming back from baby vacation, and it's not really, which isn't a vacation at all. And he had another runner up last week in St. Gala. It was a good bet. It was a good call, but
I really put the ball on the tee for you to kind of give Reed some crap, but you chose not to. That's because you're so nice. So it's good.
No, we don't need to give Reed crap. Reed's going through some things with golf betting, man. He's picked so many runner-ups this year. Like I almost feel bad for him, and I never feel bad for anyone.
When I saw his tweet about the runner-up thing, I really wanted to say maybe we should get back to work more. Maybe that would help, like that. But I didn't go there because like that.
Oh man. I can't imagine Reed's gotten too much sleep over the last month either. So yeah, you got to be, I wouldn't quite go there with, a testy new father, but
anyway,
yeah, the Gala back.
I couldn't help but share that
this week. Did you see the end of the tournament yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Horrible break for this guy, man. I mean, you question like, why didn't he lay back with the 3-wood? But you at the same time, like you're trying to win the tournament. Like he was trying to birdie and just win the tournament, and he wins with the birdie. And it's like the one place on that hole where if you hit driver and you hit in that bunker, you could hit, it's just got a big lip in it. And like, he brought it into play, and it's just unfortunate, but man, you hit 3-wood there and you don't have to worry about it. And you're probably in the fairway, and you got a little longer approach, but it's not that long a hole. So kind of feels like some course management probably could have been brought into play there for the Gala, but he's back in the field this week. He's plus 2,500. I don't even hate him this week. This field is so wide open. It's one of those things. I saw someone on Twitter. I can't remember who to give credit for this, but it's basically just one of those weeks where like you can kind of just bet who you want because this field is so wide open. There's no players in the top 50 of the official world golf rankings in this field. This is a true like Corn Ferry, like minor league event right now. And it's, that's fine. Like these are sometimes some of the funnest events you'll get. You'll see crazy swings at the end. You'll see guys like trying to close things out. Guys we haven't heard from in like 2 months, all of a sudden pop up. I like these events. If you're into golf betting and you watch a week to week, you kind of get up for these. These are fun because you can find diamonds in the rough and guys at like 200 to 1. But the Gala plus 2,500, a guy, I wouldn't put anyone off. If you're looking at that range, that's probably the player I would go to. Bezaden, who I like, but like he's not like plus 2,000 isn't big enough. I was hoping he'd be like plus 3,500, but I'm not going to bet Bezaden who at plus 2,000. The Gala is probably a better value. I would much prefer starting down the list though this week. Like I said, it's one of those ones you pick 5 or 6 guys with bigger odds and you kind of just spread your chips out among the masses this week.
Have you, real quick before we keep going here, have you explored the Live Golf showdowns yet?
No, not yet. I saw that they were up in the DraftKings lobby. And, Wednesday when we do the golf, we can bring it up. But you know what? At the end of this, after we're done talking about the Deere, let's bring it up quickly.
I kind of want to
do like a first look thing because that'd be perfect.
Well, full disclosure, I've yet to look too, but I'm seeing that has now become available. So that would be
the Live Golf. The next Live Golf event has, I believe, just showdown contests for
yes, that's correct.
DraftKings, so it's gonna be awesome. We play daily fantasy on Live. It's gonna be amazing.
So back to John Deere. I wanted to remind myself to go there. What other angles are you looking to play as far as top 40s or top 20s?
Well, let's stick with the outrights because I want to give the guys a couple players that. I'll give you a couple players I'm in on early. I'm in on Patrick Rogers at plus 3,500. Rogers is a player who starting to gain more on approach. I like this setup for Rogers. He's an elite putter. He's really consistent off the tee. He's long and he'll hit fairways, which is really good for this course because that just gives you a ton of scoring opportunities. And one thing we do see from winners here, they're typically like pretty solid off the tee. Like you don't have to be a banger. You don't have to be like, Brooks Koepka off the tee. But if you're solid, it makes the course really, really simple. And Rogers is one of those players, and his approach game has picked up a little bit. He's got confidence coming in from the US Open where he played really well for like a couple days. I think this is a fair price. He was second at this event in 2017. I'll take a piece of Patrick Rogers at plus 3,500. Realistically, you'd like him at like plus 4,500 or something, but you know what? Like you gotta, again, I'm kind of riding the momentum train here. Like, I think you just got to pick someone up top who just looks like they're maybe on the cusp of breaking through. Rogers is kind of that player for me. I'll say this. There's no way I'm betting Scott Stallings at plus 3,500, but that's another player I really wouldn't be shocked if he like broke through this week. So Rogers and Stallings, a couple players, like maybe more for DFS. They're both under 9K, look a little undervalued. For outright, I'll probably just take a piece of Rogers, but those are a couple players I got my eye on.
Okay, very good. What else you got for us? How about the course?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, you know, it's a little bit similar to what we saw last week, but it's almost even like a simpler setup. Like there's no, it's a short course again. The greens are even simpler than last week, if you could like put it that way. I guess the bent grass greens, like guys will just light it up with the putter here. Dylan Fratelli gained 7 strokes putting when he won. Michael Kim gained like 13 strokes putting. I can't even remember. Bryson gained like 7 strokes putting when he won. Like, it's just the content. Again, like, that's what I mean. Like, if you're just consistent off the tee, you don't make a ton of mistakes, you put yourself in the fairway, you just hit a bunch of greens, which it's not going to be that hard to do, and you get hot with your putter, like you will go low here. So it's basically a putting contest this week. And that's why, like, that's why I say, like, this entire field is like live to win. Maybe not the entire field, but like everybody like 100 to 1 and under is probably live to win. So, you know, a lot of different types of players you could target this week. But it's a very simple course. You know, realistically, if you're looking at like approach numbers, I would probably try and dial it in, guys, like mid to short iron approaches, like 125 yards to 150 tends to be like the real sort of juicy spot. Again, you get guys that are consistent off the tee, they give themselves a ton of short approaches, and then you just fire pins all week. And it's just whose ever putter gets hottest. But you can kind of pinpoint these guys. Like Russell Henley was a guy who finished second year in 2019, great on short approaches. So that's one stat you can kind of dial in. And I'll give a player who, again, he's a little bit bigger than Rogers, but John Huh at plus 4,500. I think he's 7,800 in DFS. Johnny Huh is a former winner on tour, doesn't hit it very far. He's very consistent off the tee. He's been gaining strokes off the tee. His tee to green game has been great. He's been good around the greens. He's a solid player, and he's playing really well. And this is the exact type of event and the exact type of course where John Huh would pop up. He finished 7th here in 2018. So his tee to green game has been really good. I could absolutely see him like doing something this week. You know, he's just got to sing his putts. So he'll be in the mix. I think for DFS 7,800, he's definitely one of the top values. Ches Reavie, I think is 7,900, another really just good value. I expect both these guys to be popular, but like in this field, like you kind of just got to eat some chalk because there's just not that many options.
I was just going to bring that up. So staying in DFS, like, how do you feel the pricing was done in terms of like, because that's got to be a challenge for folks making these when they get in the lobby and they create the contest, just because of the guys that have departed to live. How does that? I'm fascinated to see what kind of adjustments the salary fluctuation these next few weeks. I
mean, it's just sticker shock, right? Like Jason Day this week is 10,000. Last week, I think it was 81. Thigala was like 7,400 last week. I don't even know what he was. He's like in the sevens. Now he's 10,100. Like the prices are just insanely in terms of fluctuation, right? So that's why I bring up like John Huh, still pretty good value at 7,800. Ches Reavie, like these are good players playing well, and they're still available under 8K. Those are probably two of the best values. Adam Svensson is actually like, his price went up a little bit, but like 7,700 is still like Adam Svensson's made like 5 cuts in a row. Top 25 last week, top 25 last 2 weeks. Like you're getting a pretty solid player there for under 8K in this field. Like he's a solid player, right? So there is opportunity there, and like there is some really good values down, even like going a little bit further down too. You know that you can find guys like that. So like a guy like Lee Hodges at 6,900. If you're dipping under 7K, Lee Hodges is actually a guy who's in my article. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet Lee Hodges to win outright, but like as a DFS value, like he gained like a few strokes on approach last week. He's really good in proximity with the short irons. 6,900, like Lee Hodges is a guy I definitely would be marching out there for if you're looking at a guy, you know, in that range. I think he's just underpriced compared to the rest of the people. Like he's paired with like Chappell, Garnett. I mean, a lot of these guys just haven't like been making cuts, and Lee Hodges like made 3 cuts in a row, played well last week. So there's players like that sprinkled around. Honestly, it's one of those weeks where if you really do your homework, I think you can have a big advantage, but you know, you got to kind of dive into it. It's not as the plays aren't quite as obvious this week for sure.
Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's dive into this Live Golf Showdown.
All right, you're into this Live. I like it.
I mean, how can you not? It's kind of riveting. I think it's good for the sport.
It is. It's absolutely riveting. It's completely thrown the entire golf world on its head.
Okay,
let's get it open though, because I haven't looked at this at all.
Giving the people a little heads up here. So see 100K flop shot contest, about 8,000 spots available in it. So plenty of room there. $15 to enter. Draft 6 golfers. You stand with the cap. Same rules as apply. So there you go. I mean, there's some of the common customers that we're used to in that other contest. There you go. Dustin Johnson, the guy at 10,700.
Yep.
Gooch, Louis. There's Louis.
Yep. Louis not playing good right now. I'm not going to lie. It's not looking great for Louis these days. I think he missed the cut last week too. Oh no, he's T8 last week. Oh, he really rebounded with a nice week actually. No, Louis might be interesting at Pumpkin Ridge here.
It is kind of funny how now it's like they show PGA and now we've got WT in the old game log section. So any knee jerk reaction to the contest here?
So okay. I mean, first of all, this is awesome. I mean, look, the more golf events we have, the better. Obviously, we got Showdown. So, I mean, obviously talking about one round, it's only a 3-round event. So, really just kind of, since it's Showdown, obviously, and we don't have like a ton of like live golf results to go off of, it's something to consider. But
how many holes per round again?
What's that?
How many holes per round? Is it 18 still?
Yeah, it's still 18 holes.
No, I was just making sure because I thought for some reason I thought they shortened it for this, but they.
So what they did is instead of 4 rounds, it's 3 rounds.
It's 3 rounds. Okay.
They didn't shorten the actual round of golf. It's still 18 holes. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Anyways, in terms of like guys to target, like for Showdown, I mean, I think you just got to go with like quality. Like, Louis is probably a little bit overpriced, but a guy like, Abraham Answer is probably looking like okay. I mean, he hasn't been great this year, but he's coming in under 10K. He's still like a very good golfer. Kevin Gnaw looks underpriced at 8,600. Cheaper than Charles Schwartz or cheaper than Pat Perez. I'd probably give Kevin Gnaw a pretty hard look. Brandon Grace is a guy who played really well in the final round of the first live event. I would actually give Brandon Grace a pretty good look. I may even bet Brandon Grace for this event. I'm not going to lie. Going to take a hard look there. Justin Harding is a good young player. I would definitely have some interest in. Didn't do well at the PGA, but I think he was okay in the first live event. I can't remember, but Justin Harding's a solid player. Can get hot for a round for sure. Then going down, I mean, again, like the back end of these live events are pretty thin still. So some to keep in mind. Scott Vincent is a good player at 6,900. I would definitely take a look at him. Like if you're looking for like a sub 7K guy, he's kind of like the class there. After that, man, I don't know. I would try and mainly stay away from these guys. A lot of them could get hot for a round because it's only Showdown. So you could probably use one of them, but I can't sit here with a straight face and give you like a good recommendation or anything like that. Vincent would definitely be a guy. Travis Smith I don't know what he's been up to, but I know there's some talent there. But after that, man, yeah, it's don't play Brooks's little brother. He stinks.
Poor kid.
The one piece of advice I'll throw out. Yeah.
Oh, Chase.
I mean,
17 over. Oy. That was back.
There's a couple players down here that are okay. Like Kongwatamai. I can't remember what his first name is. He's from Thailand. He's 6,400. He's not a bad, like he's probably the guy I would look to.
Okay.
I don't know what he's been up to lately though. He's young. He's good.
All of these golfers, they're all on the move. Which tour are they going to play on, and what event they're going to play in? That there's a lot going on in this sport right now, which I think is overall a good thing. We've got a wrap here in a couple minutes, but how about this before we go? Because it's getting closer. The NFL season is nearing. We haven't had anything big news-wise, as we talked about before we went on the air on this show. Anything that you're thinking about right now as far as a future, a team? Is there a developing opinion on anything right now with you in the NFL world?
As far as NFL, it's one of those things. Like it's kind of just like there hasn't been a ton of news to go off of lately, right? Like so, like the futures and like the team lines, there hasn't been a ton of movement. I mean, I know we've talked about it a little bit on the sweat. I still kind of like the Lions. Like if you go to regular season wins, and you look at the Detroit Lions, like I think that's a team that just with the division that they're in and getting like, you know, games against like the Vikings and the Bears. I mean, to go over 6.5 wins, I think it's very doable for Detroit next year. You know, I also think that, you know, it's funny, like the rookie head coaches, it's a bit of a struggle for them. Like Dan Campbell's a second year. He's got the same quarterback. They've added more pieces. Like the Lions lost a lot of close games last year. They lost some games that they should have won, quite frankly.
Yep.
Like the Tucker, like 70, like field goal from like the other end of like the, you know, Lake Michigan kind of thing to beat them. Like it's a team that easily could have had 3 extra wins just on luck alone. So I think the Lions are still a team, 6.5 wins. Like I'm very willing to go over that. That is still one of my favorite bets on the board. And, you know, there's lines like that just haven't moved that much that are out there. And that's still one of my favorites. I know there's another one too. If you go to team specials.
Sure.
Let's just talk about this for a sec. Cause there's really, I mean, you know, in terms of NFL, if you go to team specials.
Oh yeah.
And you go to the Dolphins.
Oh, it's Tua, isn't it? No, Tyra Kill.
Tua. It's Tyra Kill. I'm very happy to take Tyra Kill under 8.5 touchdowns. Receiving touchdowns. This is receiving touchdowns too.
Yes.
Like what? I mean, you're asking a guy who just got paid like a ginormous contract. Now he's going to be in an offense. And he's got Tua Tagovailoa as his quarterback instead of Patrick Mahomes. He's got a rookie head coach. He's going to be facing the Bills defense and the Patriots defense 4 times next year. And he's competing for targets with Gesicki, Jalen Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
And you're asking him to score 9 times. And Tyreek Hill, he's not old, but like he's got like 3 or 4 seasons of heavy usage. He just got paid. He's a speedster. The hamstring goes off for a bit. This is like a hammer the under for me. Like there's no way I would consider the over on this.
Even though he said that he throws a better ball than Mahomes, Tua.
I mean, that's our joke for the day, I guess. I mean,
Tyreek said it.
I know he said it. Of course he said it.
I know.
The first thing you do as a receiver when you go to a new team is you build up your quarterback. You want the targets. You're fighting for targets.
On the show
like me. It's like me when I get hosted, like when I'm with you, I'm like, I try and build you up. Wow, Clash was like the best WA announcer I've ever seen in my life. Then when I'm with Emerson, you're the best dog dad in the world, Emerson. You're so good at your dogs. When I'm with Jesse, I mean, Jesse is just good, so I don't have to say anything. But
I think you might have left someone out. That's very well. That's good. You might have forgot someone. That's good.
I didn't forget anyone. Let's not even bring them up. Anyways, Tyra Kill under 8.5 receiving touchdowns. I'm all over this. I think there's a very good chance you see Tyra Kill maybe just take a few extra games off this year and enjoy that money. You know, oh, the hamstring's a little tight. Oh, I'll just go sleep on my bag of money for a couple nights. I'm not bullish on Tyra Kill this year, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, I mean, looking at his recent seasons, his game log or his yearly log in the NFL, Tyreek Hill, well, even last year somehow came up with 9, had 15 in the COVID year, 7 and 19, 12 and 18, and then 7 and 6 in his first 2 years in the league.
And look, it's not a talent thing. I mean, I'm not.
Of course not. No, I get your
rally on Tyreek Hill, the player. He's amazing. It's just there's nothing that scares me more than a wide receiver that gets paid and is going to a new team. Look at Kenny Golladay last year. 0 touchdowns. 0.
And he went from playing with Matt Stafford to Daniel Jones.
Yep. And it's a pretty comparable drop off in quarterback. And I know Tyreek Hill is better than Kenny Golladay, but it's still a very similar situation. You're asking for 9 receiving touchdowns from Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this is one of the best bets on the board right now to go under this.
Interesting how the over's juice too. They're just tempting people. that get Tyreek.
Well, I mean, that means people have been betting it.
Yeah.
They're betting the over.
Yeah.
That's insane, man.
Okay. I think we're going to go. Jeff, good job today. That was good. We had to deal with an overtime.
I know my kids made a small appearance. They tried to bust in. My wife was playing zone defense back there, though. Tell you, with twins, that's what you got to do. Zone it up.
It's good. It's good. Okay. I think we're gonna call it a show.
Gonna go on that note.
Yep.
Right.
I'll be back tomorrow. Good little tease for tomorrow's show. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show because we debut a fully loaded baseball program on the slate.
Oh God.
So Matt LaMarca will be joining us.
Oh no.
Looking forward to that.
As long as is Bukes on?
No Bukes.
Oh, good. Okay. Phew.
Yeah. I actually said call Bukes. He needs to work more. He's too busy over with.
He's just
Robert.
on Twitter, like bragging about how his recent hot streak.
Boy,
That's all I see.
Robert Flores at MLB Network is the only guy he wants to talk to. It's all good, whatever. But yeah, we could use a little more Bukes. I would agree. But LaMarca's great, and I think Matt Meiselman's going to stick around.
Mark is great.
Meiselman's going to stick around, and Garion's in tomorrow for LaMarca. Of course, LaMarca can't make it tomorrow. Is that what's happening?
What's that guy have to do?
God, you got to be kidding me. I get the guy all hyped up. So I'm so annoyed now. Anyway, the reason why I'm also really excited, Jeff, I'm in Chicago and I plan on going to Cubs Reds tomorrow. So I need a baseball.
Oh, nice.
I need to place a bet. And I want to place the baseball bet here in Chicago, which, by the way, the DraftKings brass is here. No one told me. So I'm going to go find Jason Robbins and thank him for letting me have a job still after what I did to him in his company the last 2 summers. Anyway, we got to go. I'm talking too much. Thanks so much for watching. Jeff's back on Wednesday on the slate with the golf guys, Emerson and Reed. I think Reed will be there. I think Emerson will be too. And I'm back tomorrow. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This was the slate. The sweat is tomorrow at 11 a.m. We come on around 5 Eastern time. We'll see you then. Thanks.
Later.